In 4th century Northwest Africa, specifically Tunisia, an Amazigh physician named Vindicianus emerged as a highly important figure in the history of medicine. He was the earliest Amazigh physician from Africa who can be securely dated with certainty in surviving written sources, and more than that, he stood at the beginning of a philosophical transformation in Western medicine. Vindicianus recognized that Greek literacy in the West was collapsing. He saw that physicians no longer read Greek. He understood what this meant. The entire Greek-learned medical tradition, Hippocratic, Alexandrian, Galenic, was in danger of being lost in the West. So he began translating, he began summarizing, he began saving that tradition. Not for novelty, but for survival. These translation and summarization efforts were not plagiarism. They formed the first wave in what Longslow calls the Golden Age of medical literature. From about 370 to about 450 AD, a period marked by the production of medical compendia which would shape the way Western medicine was transmitted until the medieval period. Vindicianus was deeply respected. He was deeply respected by the Amazigh Saint Augustine. He was respected by the emperors. He became architect, chief physician of the imperial court, one of the highest positions in the late imperial hierarchy, granting him direct personal proximity to the emperor's body, direct access to the imperial palace, and direct influence within the inner circle of imperial governance. His medical authority then grew so significant that he later became proconsul of Africa, a rare instance where elite medical expertise translated into high political authority in the late Roman state. Vindicianus's fame as physician and as person has spread widely, according to his student, Theodorus Priscianus. His fame after his death was even greater than during his lifetime. Somewhat later, another Amazigh physician, Cassius Felix, referred to Vindicianus as Vere Illustris Vindicianus when mentioning one of the latter's recipes. Knowledge of this renowned African physician had also spread to Europe, where Marqueus of Bordeaux, a slightly later contemporary of Vindicianus, quoted one of his recipes. Vindicianus stood intellectually adjacent to the tradition of Marinus, Quintus, and Domitianus, the so-called anonymous Alexandrian sects, who sought to reconcile humoral theory with the seat of disease within the body. He therefore was not simply a refrigerator summarizer, but a physician situated within a defined medical lineage. Two substantial works survived under his name, and one major work was known by its introduction, Letter of Vindicianus, Count of the Physicians to the Emperor Valentinian. This letter comprised the introduction to Vindicianus's lost collection of pharmaceutical recipes, proven recipes transmitted by learned men, dedicated to the Emperor Valentinian. It was written between 371 and 375 AD, while Vindicianus was still in Treviri. His confident tone reflects this superiority as head of the College of Physicians. It was written in the first person to the emperor personally, the only instance of a physician being so close to the emperor, beside Oribasius, who was the personal physician of the Emperor Julian. The first major surviving text was the treatise called Gynecology, in reality a discussion of anatomy from head to heel. It was likely that its title was a medieval library attribution, rather than an original descriptive title. Its intended audience was physicians and also ancient medical self-help readers. The second major surviving text was the letter to Pentadius, the first systematic Latin exposition of the theory of the four humors. These works and these translation practices preserved Greek medicine within the West. They created the Western Latin utilitarian medical mode, short form, compacted, practical, non-Galenic system building, doxa-based, accessible to physicians and educated lay readers alike. And therefore, Amazigh Africa, not Greece, not Italy, became the crucial site by which classical Greek scientific medicine survived inside the West, and eventually passed into medieval European medical tradition. Vindicianus was the hinge, he was the pivot figure. He initiated this African compendia transformation, precisely because the West no longer read Greek. Through Vindicianus and many others, Greek medicine flowed from Amazigh Africa into the medieval West.